Hello. Welcome back to, oh, excuse me, I'm eating. Alicia Speaks Truth. I am Alicia, and I speak truth. Welcome to my board. Um, this video is going to be exactly what the title is um, about how coming into your authenticity um, relieves you of toxicity, pretty much. Um, you got to be, the first thing I had to do is to be honest with myself. A lot of people are afraid to sit by themselves. It's late night, you're home by yourself, and those thoughts start coming, and you're like, oh my God, what do I do? What do I do? And you think someone's trying to torture you, and no, that is spirit revealing to you what needs to be revealed. That's what that is. You have to change your perspective. You have to look at it as, or what I did, I looked at it as, this is spirit, because this is what it is, spirit revealing to me what needs to be healed. And then I, one by one, healed those things. This isn't an overnight process. It wasn't an overnight process for me. And there's still things I'm working on. But I'll say if I had 10 toxic traits, I'm down to about three. Okay? Being completely transparent and honest. Um, Honesty. When you're sitting with yourself, you must sit with yourself, because that's when spirit starts to speak. Spirit will guide you and assist you in your healing. You're not alone in this. It's not like you just have to figure it all out. The one thing that you have to do so that spirit can help you is to sit with yourself. And when those thoughts and those emotions and those old patterns start to come back, and those memories, you just sit with them. You see them. You don't judge yourself. You allow them to just be present, allow them to exist, allow them to express themselves. Um, you have to let go of the past. I had to let go of the past. I had to know that I was not my trauma. I was not the lack that was put in me. I was not my toxic upbringing. My upbringing held me hostage for a while. I tell people I had good moments, but it was always bad. And those good moments was the unity that me and my family had, but we always struggled. And that made me become a very angry person. I was angry at life. Why me? Then being melanated, that's a whole nother thing. And you know you you're going through all of these changes in life, and um you're told one thing, but then life expresses another, and it's just a lot of changes. And I will speak of this um on as a melanated woman as well, because it does play a factor. People like to ignore it and not believe that racism still exists, but it is very, very, very prominent and very obvious that it is very active. Hunt's our president, who is not triggering people to be racist, but allowing the racists to reveal themselves, which isn't all a bad thing, right? Um, but that also plays a factor, and things like that. And not knowing who you are, that's another thing that spirit led me to do, to dive deep into who I am as a melanated woman. What is my lineage? What is my ancestors? Who am I? Where do I come from? What was my ancestors practicing before Christianity? Why do I look like this? Whose features do I have? You know what I mean? Of course, I have thank God I still have my mother. My father died when I was pretty young. That also lost my dad when I was 13. I, I was just I was just coming into life, just figuring it out, just asking questions, um, and all of these things, and that's something I went through a phase not too long ago where I beat myself up about my father's passing. I was 13. Um, I've been getting really strongly into herbalism, even considering taking some courses and really taking it serious. And, when I came into the information, I'm like, dag, like I could have helped my dad. Like it was so, his situations, I could have helped him. I healed myself of diabetes through fasting and diet change. I did a 30-day fast, excuse me, a 30-day juice fast, and I was taken off of metformin and I lost 37 pounds. I was the healthiest I probably ever been in my life. I put on a few more of them pounds, but we getting back on track. We're getting back on track. Um, but yeah, resentment, guilt, shame, that's it's not of you. It is not yours. Stop carrying. I had to stop carrying people's burdens and people's challenges and being an empath and feeling and instead of watching and watching, we people like me observe those types of emotions and energies, and you just want to help and you want to pour into other people, but sometimes it's okay to say no, because if your cup is not full, then how can you pour into anybody else? You can't pour into anybody else, right? So you got to make sure your cup is full, and then with that overflow, you pour into other people. I had to learn that it's okay to say no. If I'm tired, if my inside my vessel, inside my temple, because this is church. Spoke of that in one of my videos. Your body is church. I'm sitting here eating some raw broccoli right now. Your body is your church. So what are you putting into it? That's another way I healed myself. Speaking high things about myself, even when I didn't believe it at first. Just sitting here, for instance, untwisted hair, you couldn't see me, but just learning to just loving me and loving my essence. My Some kids just walked up to me, start petting my dog, like just enjoying my essence, not judging myself. This is who I am. I am me. This is who I am. There is no one else like me. And if you judge me, it's because you don't like you. You know what I mean? These are the things that you reprogram your mind. Reprogram your mind. Speak life into yourself. I am healed from my toxic traits. I no longer do toxic things. Whatever that toxic trait is, whether it's putting sugar in people's tank, or it's fist fighting, or it's being a narc, I'll just say a narc, whatever that is, you have to be honest with yourself. If you're lying to me, I know you're lying to yourself. I don't even take lying offensive anymore. To an extent, I don't take lying offensive anymore, because if you're lying to me, you're definitely lying to yourself. If everyone outside of you is always the problem, then you better believe you really the problem. And that's the biggest thing I had to realize. That in a lot of situations that I was in, I was the problem. I was the one placing and putting myself in this situation with my thoughts, my words, and my behavior. I was not aligned with my true essence. I was not aligned. And one of the things that I always wanted, I wanted marriage. I wanted that experience. I wanted a great partner. I didn't have to want to worry about cheating and lying and all those things. And I'm going to say, without going into detail right now, once I aligned myself, I started getting what I wanted, or realizing that what I asked Spirit for, I already had. Mm, that's what it was. Realizing that everything that I wanted, I already had. And because of my mind, my words, and my action, I almost lost it. I had to be honest with myself. And this is, some call it shadow work. And I don't play about it. I'm very adamant about it. And shadow work. Shadow work, shadow work. Be honest with yourself. Be raw with yourself. Nobody else is going to be raw and honest with you like you going to be honest and raw with you. And that's just what it is. You got to be honest. Write a list. These are my toxic traits. I like picking arguments with my man. I like picking arguing with my friend. I can be very jealous. Why am I so jealous? Where is this coming from? Why do I not like my hair? Why do I not like my skin? Why do I compare myself to every woman? I compare myself to women that I don't even want to be like. Why am I doing these things? These are the questions. See, you only got to be honest with yourself. You don't got to be honest with me. Because if you're honest with yourself, you're going to naturally be honest with me. Because you're not going to be afraid of judgment. Being authentic is not being afraid of judgment. Because you're going to say, I love me. I don't give a what you talk about. I love me. And learning who I am as a melanated woman because we are different. We are different. Genetically, mentally, physically, people are different. You cannot learn, and I say this in the most respectful way, but it is truth. You cannot take the current systems, the current history that we are taught, like in school, right? You cannot take the history taught in school and think you're going to learn who you are for people that look like me. Because a lot of it is bullshit anyway. I started my genealogy. I connected my mother to her father's family. I just did that about a year ago. Connected myself to my culture. Who am I? Getting more tapped in. People that look like me, we are very spiritual. We are naturally high vibrational people. We fell. We're going to get into that. My next video, we're going to get into that. We are going to talk about who is the melanated being. Who is the melanated being? What is melanin? I started there too. I got into that too. This is all spirit led. Soon as I started sitting with myself and being honest with myself, spirit said, you know what? You ready for the truth. You ready for the truth of the world, who you are, all of that. I love everyone. I love life itself. Period. But the truth must be spoken. No stereotypes. No ego trip information oh, I'm better than. No, we don't do any of that over here. Pure truth, pure facts. If it is not factual, I will say it is my opinion. Because I had those too. So I had to be honest with myself, sit with myself, and ask myself, speak to the God within you. Who am I? What are these traits and qualities of myself? What is my authentic self? Ask yourself those questions. Discover who you are. And you might notice yourself starting to seek God. Well, who is God? Who is God? Where is God? Who is God? Where is God? And you're going to discover that after you dive, you read this, you pray about that, you might go to church, you ask 1,000 questions, you're going to discover that it's only you. It's only you. Ashe.